I've been thoroughly enjoying the day today. I came morning for the Toastmasters event at Emergence, and what I found was in Chennai, people take down notes very sincerely. So as I was talking, I changed my style of talking because here everybody writing notes. So I better stick to the subject. So that's a fascinating thing that I do today. Now today I've come with an open mind. They said it's about public speaking and contest. Since there are a lot of guests today, right? There's a lot of guests today. I will start off on a different note. Let me put it like this. Recently, I had a talk with one of senior management personnel, and he was very particular about undergoing communication skill through Toastmasters. But what took him so many years to realize that communication is very important? He had been for a leadership workshop, and he said in his self-assessment that he had got a very high rating on result orientation. So he thought, what is there in life? I'm getting excellent mind, and that is what I meant for. And he was very happy. But the consultant heard him and said, I'm very sorry, this is what you don't have to achieve in life. For 25 years, you proved yourself achieving results. That's you have become such a big person. What you need to do is improve your communication. You getting what I'm saying? Most of us sometimes strongly work on our technical competence. Work so hard, we become something, and then we realize the real problem is because of people, and that people come from our communication only. Yeah. So that's why the Toastmasters plays a very important role at the early, beyond that manuals and CTMs and DTMs and ATMs, what matters is the process that you undergo and how that helps us become more sensitive towards ourselves. Because when you prepare a speech, actually the biggest challenge is when you prepare a speech is that speech becomes a mirror. Right? We can never like a mirror. Because when you write a speech, you cannot exaggerate. Because somewhere down the line, you know that is not the real you. Once, twice, you can do a third time, people will know. And then you go back and reflect, why is there a mindset for me when I prepare a speech? Then you go for a course correction. I think I need to change, that's why I'm not able to communicate. I'll give you a simple example. While mentoring one of the person, he had an issue that we have to end the speech in the end. You know, every speech, like a good movie, has to have a good ending. The policeman comes in the end, the family comes together, all live happily together. That's how we all realize, right? That's a normal thing, perception about any movie or any speech. But in this particular speech, it was about a father and a son relationship. So it had to end on a good note. So I said, my speech is so, just one sentence. You just end the sentence that you are fine with your dad. But he said, give me 3 days time to write that sentence. Give me 3 days time to write that sentence. After 3 days, he said, write that sentence. He said, in these 3 days, he went to his hometown and told his father for forgiveness and how much he has hurt him. Right? For me, it was very easy to write that sentence. For him, it was very impossible to write that sentence. And that's what happens in speech making. That transformation happens when you start getting deeper into your speech and you start seeing yourself into your speech. And you need to take a call, is my speech the real self of who I am? And then the journey begins. So that is what is important in communication. The other thing is, in today's world, they say communication is a shortcut to distinction. You know why? Wherever you see in life, wherever you see, the people who are moving up the world are people who are able to express their ideas in an effortless manner. Would you agree with me, gentlemen? Ladies and gentlemen? Yeah. There are many people who got this capability to express those ideas, but there are some who can express that flawlessly and fearlessly, and they are noticed and they move very fast. Probably technically they are very average. But what makes them impressive is their communication. I can say communication is a shortcut to distinction. If not, you will soon find your extinction. Yeah? Because end of the day, with a manager, 80 to 90% of your issues are more people related. More nothing to do with your software or technical aspects. It's about two people not coming on time, two people have relationship problems, mother-in-law problems, and you realize I've come all the way at this level and then sorting out this kind of issues. But that's what communication can do to you if we can. This Toastmasters environment gives us this real life learnings in a lab environment and helps us to implement that in real life. The real competition, the real challenge happens in the real world. Here, it's good to make those mistakes and undergo the transformation. Yeah. The other important thing is, what is the purpose of each person coming to Toastmasters? Right? For some, it could be great accomplishment. I want to be a world champion. For some, it could be I want to be the greatest leader. For some, it could be I just want to learn something. Or some, just to listen to somebody. So, we have to respect each other's purpose of them coming to Toastmasters. Because I learned a hard lesson when I saw an elderly person attending a swimming camp. This happened many years ago. Even after the first batch, he was standing in that 4 feet shallow water, just standing like that. Second batch, he was still standing there. Third batch, he was standing. Probably I thought he's got a lot of money to spend. Because every month, but we were ahead in the 16th, with the 6 feet or 16 feet down. So I went and asked him, sir, how is it that you're still standing here? You've not learnt it, even to move your hand. He said, gentlemen, for 75 years I feared water. Today I don't fear water, so I've conquered life, he says. Man, that's achievement. That's exactly what life is all about. So let's not put everybody in the same category and say, that is Toastmasters, this is communication, this is the paradigm. No, nothing. Each one has got a purpose. As long as you're able to fulfill that purpose, you find the meaning in life and you're able to keep people happy, then we are making a difference to ourselves and people around us. That was the biggest lesson for me in that day. And communication is important. It is the way we connect with people. Toastmasters, it makes us more sensitive with people. Right? A time happened when I was talking to a particular person, the manager. He was so good in his communication, but he never realized I had a cough and had a cold and the AC was very high. I tried to impress him that I can't communicate, but he never even gave a thought to it, but I controlled myself because he was making a good presentation. And the founder who was sitting there noticed that I coughed a bit. It was a small company. For 20 minutes he disappeared. The first thing when I went to the company was, why is the founder so small, man, now that I'm very tall? He's so small, and how can he build such a big company, I was wondering. But after 20 minutes he walked in and he said, sir, sorry to take so much of long time. In our company we don't have a cafeteria. I got for you ginger tea from a neighboring canteen. I realized what makes a leader, not just a communicator. Right? If we can communicate well, but we can't connect to the hearts of people, then what kind of a leader are you? No wonder I knew who was the founder, who was the manager. The manager was not a great communicator, but he showed that he was able to make the right connections. And this is what happened in Toastmasters. Right? So this is what is the benefits that we get in Toastmasters. I joined with Toastmasters as an ordinary apprentice when I was 15, 16 years. I joined an apprentice, worked in the shop floor, $300 a day, going cycling, and my friends moved up doing MBA and engineering. I thought I was lost in life, but I wanted to make a difference, prove to the world, I want to be a leader one day. So I went and told my brother, Anna, I want to be a leader. Why? Because everybody is a leader. They are undergoing some leadership course and become a leader. So I also want to do some leadership course and become a leader. But he made a statement one day, I will never forget in life. My boss is a PhD. No, I am a PhD, but my boss is SLC, but he's still my boss, he said. Right? So also in you, let everybody become leader, but you become their leader, he said. So you are a born leader, he said. And that's what Toastmasters brings to us. Right? Taking command of the situation, standing there and becoming the leader. So the benefits is, and that realization of the true potential came in Toastmasters. Right? Whenever I speak to people like this in real life before joining Toastmasters, they called it stupidity. But when I spoke in Toastmasters, they called it creativity. Yeah? That's how it is. Things changed. So it is a question of where you perform and how you position position yourself, and only Toastmasters do you recognize that, not elsewhere. People might say, what's wrong with you? Why you gave such crappy ideas? This doesn't work here, you should have been born India, they say. But when I started giving Toastmaster speeches, they said, wow, this is a totally new concept. This is a trainer material, this is a consultant material. I started picking up my skills there and started my own company. Just because of the environment of Toastmasters, the energy that the Toastmasters built off, and the positive vibration that is created. So, and the internal transformation that happens is beyond everything. See, the way we progress would be very technical. It's not about getting one level CTM, one level ATM. How much of it have you imbibed that, and that has translated your life makes a more difference? Agree with me? Yeah? Otherwise, giving speech after speech is good, but in one speech, if you cannot bring about a transformation within you, then what is the difference that we are doing? Right? So, I always urge people to go deeper into the manual and let it be, bring out that authentic nature of you. So, on this short note, I will say, this is how the Toastmasters has benefited me a lot. Coming to the speech making process, right? Who's got a challenge in preparing a speech? Or the very thought comes, yeah? Yes. Very, very important is, now, the moment the thought comes of a speech, our mind gets blocked, right? So, normally what happens is, just don't go look at it as a speech. Any new experience, any good observation, any good thought that strikes your mind, just put it in a paper and forget it. When I say forget it, don't sleep on it. Just put it there, right? Something exciting has happened. Now see my friend today, beautifully connected. Toastmasters is like going to school. Your prepared speech session, your event topic session. Did it strike any one of us? Correct? It did not strike us, right? But it could strike him. You know why? He's a naturally creative person. Right? Now, he has to build on that to master himself. Right? Otherwise, somebody would have picked up in my 15 years of my Toastmaster experience. Right? So, whenever you get an idea, just lock it. And then try to create any information that is related to that topic. You know? I'll give you a simple example. Give me any subject, any topic of relevance that matters for you a lot. It could be relationship, it could be leadership. Any topic that is there? You got something? Honesty. Now, honesty is what that is his core value. Right? He stands for honesty, lives by honesty. Now, when it comes to honesty, what all things come to his mind about? Why does he say honesty is very important for him? Why is it important for you?
Speaking for a law firm.
Yeah? Yeah? Why? Tell me, sir.
If you are honest, even if you had a problem, you will overcome the problem.
So how did this honesty come into you? Into your system that you raise your hand to everybody and say, I'm honesty. It is because it has been planted in your childhood by your parents. Right? It will never come to me because I'm never honest in life. Right? So it has come to him. So honesty, maybe he did something in life that somebody reminded him, you did this, honesty is what is important. Right? So he has to, what is that? If he goes deeper, he will get lot of incidents in life that connects to that word honesty. Simple, right? Am I with you on the same page? So when you write a speech, normally when people write, they say, in a normal speech, 700 words. So 1.5 page I've written, the speech is complete. No, that thought process, no. Don't look at it from a speech person, but just allow your thoughts to flow. Just keep writing down. Don't end the speech. If there is another connection, keep writing. Nothing wrong, just keep writing. Don't stop it. Let the thoughts keep flowing. If he sits today and talks of honesty, 24 hours, 11, you know what? The thoughts keep connecting. Just put it across. And then your rough sketch of your speech comes out. and pick out from that the juice, the blood that is important for the audience. Right? You have 24 stories about honesty, but the audience will prefer the 3 best stories for them. Pull it out from that. Right? And once you create that, then you can embellish it or polish it with some humor, with some opening and the closing and all that. But the core of your speech belongs to you, and that's where you have to work on that. Getting what I'm saying? Is it complicated, sir? Ladies and gentlemen? But the problem is, we want to complete the speech before we get the idea also. Right? We become restless, so this idea is not coming. No. And when you start working on that particular topic, you will have your own inferences about your life. Oh my God, this is connecting this thought has come, this thought has come, that thought has come. No? And then when you finish it, then you can tweak it to the Toastmasters requirements, judging correctly, all the bracket it later. But the initial thing is what we need to do. So, where is the real challenge that you make in the speech making? Can somebody tell me? Yeah? Where is the real challenge that you get in a speech? Like where you get stuck?
Connecting with people.
Yeah?
Connecting with people.
Yeah. Connecting with people. First, is the speech connecting with you? Ask yourself. Am I feeling myself by giving that speech? Or am I feeling, hey, this is not the real me, man? Don't you get a feel, no? This is not the real me. So how can I even convert that into a speech? So first, is it connecting with you? Are you at peace with yourself? Are you at comfort with yourself about the speech? And only then can you connect it with your with the audience. Yeah. So without getting convinced about yourself, it's difficult to connect with the audience. And once you're fully convinced about yourself, you know very clear the audience are going to believe in me because I believe in what I'm practicing. Like a salesman. How do I believe this pen is worth $1,000? I believe it by using it first myself. Then if I believe in that, I know how to sell it for $1,000. Same thing in a speech. You're selling a concept, you're selling an idea, you're selling a story. So if you also don't believe in the story, how can you sell that story? Then of course your body language, the voice modulation. Right? You should be in line with your speech. Those are technical aspects that are there. That can come naturally. But working on the speech and the content is very, very critical. Some people might have problem about fixing the title. You create a working title. Don't fix on the title of the speech. Create a working title that will trigger you to think on those lines. But as you're progressing your speech, a new idea will come that can become the new title. You with me on this? Right? And always keep your opening and body, loose-ended. Your body is what you need to work on. Opening and the closing can be worked later as the way the beat of a speech works. Most of us fix the opening and fix the closing and try to work inside. And then trying to see somewhere it's not fitting into the closing. Yeah? So that's what I say. Toastmasters, for some it's a passion, for some it is a dedication, for some whatever. For me, Toastmaster remains a mystery. You can never say, I have discovered Toastmasters. As you go deeper and deeper and deeper, you're like, wow, there's so much things that are fascinating to learn about this. Right? And it's mind-blowing. So that is the concept of making a speech. And then how you take that idea to the level 1 to level 3, that determines on your mindset. That depends on your, I got a winning speech. I'm going to prove to the world that this is what the world wants. If you have that mindset, you will know how to execute it to that highest level. Most of us will say, if this gets through club level, I'm very happy. And don't be surprised, it will not happen. You need to say this speech is meant for the world audience to listen. If you have that mindset, you'll go somewhere at least 80% to the target. That's what we're trying to tell you. Yeah? You find it interesting? Yeah? So where are the problems you got? How much time you got? 10 minutes. Any other, where else you get stuck in your speaking? Yeah. As I told you, the content, keep writing. You don't have to be a great writer, but just sketch all your thoughts. and then you have to edit or every time you look at it, so you can remove things but keep the first draft original always. You know what? That is the real you. Rest all your mentor told you shift that, put all that. That is the product in the market. But the real you is the first draft. That is your first love letter. Whenever I look at my first speech, first draft, I love it. Other drafts, okay, it's good. It's more suiting the audience requirements, but the real you is the first draft. So this first process, what we write, is the crux of the whole speech. Keeping that as a reference, you can keep changing everything now and then. But that initial, I'm willing to sketch that out is more important. Yes, ma'am.
The problem with I in the title and I try to write it down. I can no longer write more than 4-5 lines. I get stuck there, and then I doubt my content.
Yes.
Will I be able to elaborate it into a 500 or 600 word speech? I find that often.
The problem is never give a title first of all.
No, I don't give the title.
Then?
The content, the crux, I fix on it, but
Yeah.
I find trouble to elaborate on it.
Yeah, the problem is you are getting stuck with one idea. Yeah. Keep weaving around that idea, but don't fix onto that one idea. Maybe a new idea will come that will become the best part of it. I'll give you a simple example. When I wrote the gutter effect speech, I did not know how to bring a character to communicate to the audience. Rather, giving my own example in that speech would have been, hey, this guy is talking about himself. His story, his example. So what is the difference in making? So I want to bring in a character in that speech. So while I was driving back home, my friend called me. And he told me, I want to meet you. I met him and he told, this is some money for you. I said, why? I said, yeah, you've been helping me so many years. You'll put that somewhere in good bank account, he said. Now I realized the guy who was a drug addict has transformed and helping me. I brought that character to my speech. The real Robin actually. It just came like that and for a time it became a real character. And I told him one day, because of you I'm going to US, I told him. That's another story. He said, why? You don't have to know, I told him. Many things have happened like that in life. You know what? So the problem is we feel it is closed. Always keep your speech open-ended. A good speaker will know how to be flexible, adapt to the required audience and the cultures at any given point of time. Because you know end to end how you're working it. But if you're fixed on a 700-letter speech and this is the speech you're giving, you may be a good speaker at that level, but you can't grow beyond that. Right? So don't fix on the idea also. That could be one of the idea. But as you're writing, more ideas might come. Yeah.
If you're getting 2 or 3 ideas, don't you think it's deviating?
Yeah. What I want to say, good. You get 2, 3, nothing wrong. But first sketch it out fully. Let those 3 ideas be there. In that 3 ideas, can you integrate and make that into one idea? Or what is that one idea that stands out? So that would be the critical aspect of it. Sometimes, a lot of creative people have this problem. They'll have too many ideas. The speech will be filled with ideas after ideas after ideas. I don't know. Like sometimes you need to stick to an idea and try to bring in that relevance. But if you have 3 ideas, add it. But then you chop it off in the end. Or integrate that into one idea. Yeah. So any other question? Yes.
Is it necessary to have humor in a serious subject?
Yeah. See, the serious subject, that's what it depends on the audience and the level of the audience, right? If it's a part of the story, I'll give a simple example. In the furnace talk, I gave a talk by telling, as a child, I wanted to join the army. My teacher looked at me and said, you're not even the size of the gun. The audience laughed just like this. When I went back home, I got a call in the night from a charter accountant. Sir, I'm not getting sleep. When everybody laughed, how did you have the courage to put yourself down with them? So was that humor or was that emotion? For me it was emotion, for audience it was humor actually. You're getting what I'm saying? Yes. That was given a lot of pain. But it's okay, people laughed, but I had pain. But one person could connect with that. So it is a different story altogether. So that's the aspect in public speaking sometimes. But as long as you can convey that message and the message reaches out to people, that's the most important thing. So as what you said, it was serious emotion, but if people look at it humor, allow humor to happen at your cost, no problem.
The quality of delivery of speech.
Quality of, last point on that. Quality of, see, once your speech is done, right? Now, what to say? How do you give life to that speech? How do you give life to the speech? Only when there is energy in that speech. Only then it can reach out to more people. So you need to find out where is it that you can give that maximum impact to that speech. I'll give an example. The ball fell into the gutter and it became black. Right? But when I wrote that speech, the ball fell into the gutter and it turned to a dirty black mass. You getting the impact? I don't know how many people have got that, but I was enjoying that actually. In a very good mic system, no? Dirty black mass. It's up like that. So, you need to know when to give the punch, where you want to give the emphasis, and how did you want to do it. Sometimes many of the things as speaker goes unnoticed for the speaker's efforts, but no problem at the end of the day. Right? I'll give you an example in the gutter fight. If you see, none would have noticed. I'm just sharing that you. End of the day, we just give up. We just give up. There is a breath that comes on the mic, but nobody's observed it. But I knew that is the quality I could give for the audience. Right? So you need to get into the skin of the talk, and where you can give life to it. Where are the emotions? Where you go subtle? All that you need to give it to a speech. 80% audience may not get through what it exactly means, but you need to do justice to that. Then it becomes, you're finding it, think so?
Yes.
And don't overdo it also, because it is there, don't overdo it. Just do that. Wherever it is critical, try to work on that one. Any other points?
You spoke about the working title.
Yeah.
So can you quote your own experience as to first what title you chose for your own topic and how you changed it later on, your own experiences or something on your projects?
The reason I gave, the speech was freedom. Walk to freedom. From no man's land to promised land, like the titles. Finally, I realized all these topics were not gelling. Finally, I termed it as the walk. The walk. The walk sounded very philosophical. I can give a summary as I wind the talk right now. The walk talks about a historical character of Moses. I saw the Ten Commandments movie, right? I'll just tell you how it all happened. So, I was so fascinated with that movie that I started living the life of that character. The character takes his people from bondage to freedom. That is the whole movie all about. The way he drives the horses and takes the journey of people for 40 years fascinated me. But then, how do I bring relevance into today's world? I thought. So I started by telling, I love watching movies, and I watched the Ten Commandments, and I told mom that I want to be like Moses one day. And she says, Moses became famous because he dared to care. He dared to care. Right? So I took dare to care as the message, and I decided I will continue the walk of my life. So I joined my first job, right? And that became the walk to work. The second was the walk of loneliness, where I do not know what to do. The third became the walk to freedom, where I chose to become an entrepreneur. Right? So in the journey of life, we undergo various walks. Right? But ultimately, you need to walk the walk of life. The concept I'm telling you. So the walk became more open-ended and people appeal to people. Right? So titles will come. By the time you end your speech, you will come with a situation. Yeah, this is what that connects with me. I end with that. Right? Thank you. All the best. We'll get connected later.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.